Welcome to Beauties and Beasts, the podcast of all things beauty and the beast. I'm your host, DF, leading you in this cheer this morning, evening, whenever you're listening to this. If my cheerleading opening was any indication, today's topic is the 2018 Disney Channel movie, Zombies, or rather, Zombies, because of cheerleading. What the heck, I'm just going to say zombies. Anyway, though a bit cheesy, this West Side Story meets High School Musical with Zombies is one of the better Disney Channel musicals we've had in a while. Definitely better than Descendants. There, I said it. It's better than Descendants. Way better. Well, I was going to wait until the implied third movie in the franchise was coming out, which, by the way, is coming out this year. But my podcast is ending soon, so I can't wait that long, unfortunately. Spoiler alert if you have not seen Zombies or Zombies 2. Before we get into this, I'd like to thank my $5 plus patrons, Arvin Joshua Rocks 15, BellaPinkSavage, Cosmic Trail, Nala X Simba, and Tyrannosaurus Venom for their continuing support. You can also share your support by buying my merchandise on Redbubble. Just go to disneyfanatic23.redbubble.com. Also, be sure to donate to my charity campaign for Together We Rise in honor of Foster Care Awareness Month. Help us reach a goal of $1,000 to help kids in foster care before the end of May. Though I would appreciate it if even after May you donate to Together We Rise. It's a worthy cause. Alright, so welcome to Seabrook, a quaint little suburban small town where everything is perfect and very pastel. Huh, Edward Scissorhands all over again. But perfection is disrupted when an accident involving lime soda and explosion at the local power plant zombifies half the town, and they try to eat human brains. 50 years later, thanks to technology, zombies no longer require eating brains and can live normal lives and have kids. So, not the reanimated corpses we're familiar with, they're pretty much just human beings with very pale faces and green hair. Yeah. See, the zombies wear Z-bands that send electrical pulses that suppresses the zombie instinct to eat brains. However, the town is still divided up between humans and Zombie Town, and zombies have government-regulated uniforms and restrictions such as not being allowed to have pets and having a curfew. This year, however, zombies are being integrated into a human high school. Among these zombie students are Zed, who wants to join the football team, his brainiac political activist friend Eliza, and Bonzo, who only speaks zombie, but is a sweetheart. Meanwhile, on the human side of the town, it's also Addison's first day of high school. Her dream is to be on the cheer squad, led by her cousin Bucky. And being the daughter of the mayor and the police chief, she's excited to uphold the reputation as a normal teenage girl. Except she was born with white hair, like really white, that the doctors cannot explain, and she can't dye it, so she has to wear a blonde wig to fit in. So, the zombies arrive at Seabrook High, the entrance of which is divided with a wired fence between zombies and normals, and the zombies are put down in the basement, with lessons taught by a zombie janitor. They aren't allowed to leave the basement, and thus not allowed to join extracurriculars like football, and they are completely separated from the human classmates for the humans' safety. What does this remind me of? Can you tell me? Or has your school banned those history books on segregation? Okay, Floridians, quick lesson. About 60 or so years ago, the U.S. was segregated between blacks and whites. They all had separate schools, bathrooms, cafes, etc. And even when schools were integrated for the first time, in some, black students were separated from whites. In the case of 6-year-old Ruby Bridges, her entire school cleared out and she was left alone in a classroom with her teacher. Yeah, this is what your governor's keeping from you, Florida. Alright, back to the zombie movie. Zed, eager to try out for the football team, sneaks out of the basement, but is caught and the zombie alarm is set off. Addison is the only one not panicking and makes it to the zombie safe room, where Zed has also, ironically, sought safety from the mob. The two of them speak in the dark about how she wants to cheer and he wants to try for the football team, and they both think, oh yeah, you'd be really great for it. And they hit it off really well. And then the lights turn on, and Addison hits Zed in the face! First impressions are very important, but usually wrong. She apologizes, as she's been raised to think zombies are disgusting creatures because one of them bit her granddad's ear off. Yeah, intergenerational trauma and all that. But Zed's like, oh, I don't care if you're racist. You're pretty. And then Addison's cousin bursts in and pulls her away from Zed. Zed makes it to football tryouts, but the coach rejects him. Yes, thank you, Bella, and that's how I met your mother. Meanwhile, Addison makes a cheer squad and convinces Bucky to let her friend Bree join as an alternate. But first, Bucky announces that zombies are a threat to cheer, and so, as part of the initiation, they're gonna egg the zombie homes. But Addison and Bree are reluctant. Before they can give in to peer pressure, a zombie mom chases Bucky and the ACs, Stacy, Lacey, and Tracy, and they drive off without Addison and Bree, who still have the eggs. Zed comes out of his house, sees Addison and the eggs, but he doesn't rat her out. And Addison starts to see how harassed zombies are. The next day, Zed sneaks himself, Eliza, and Bonzo into the pep rally because he wants to see Addison. The boys got it bad. But Bucky, eager to show everyone what zombies are and their true nature, breaks out the spirit sticks, lighting them up, and Bonzo freaks out because zombies hate fire. Everyone panics at Bonzo's outburst, and as a result, Zed's Z-band malfunctions. Addison is in the air with no one to catch her. Zed, all zombied up, pushes past the football team, throwing them across the gym, and catches Addison before she hits the floor. The coach is impressed with Zed's zombie strength and petitions the principal to let him on the football team so that they can actually win games for once. Zed agrees, but on the condition that his fellow zombies be treated as equals. The principal says that, well, he has to win some games first, but as a show of good faith, she allows the zombies to have lunch in the cafeteria with the human students. You can guess how the human students feel about that, especially Bucky. Yeah, I don't think I need to explain that part. And yes, zombies still sit separated from the humans. Fortunately, they like sitting by the trash cans in the darkest corner of the cafeteria. Addison goes to talk to Zed, though Eliza is suspicious of her, and Bucky insists Addison has to be either pro-zombie or pro-cheer. Can't be both, and he subtly threatens to expose the secret of her hair. Addison chooses cheer. Upset, she runs off, and Zed follows her, and they meet up in the zombie shelter where they first met. Addison explains she doesn't want to be a part of this segregation, but she can't quit cheering, and she tells him about her hair, but refuses to show it. Zed understands, and doesn't mind keeping the relationship a secret. Someday, they can come out to the world. Like Romeo and Juliet, these kids move fast. Let me just note that this Someday number is one of the best choreographed numbers I've seen on the Disney Channel in a very, very, very long time. Thank you, Cosmic Trail. Oh, what could go so wrong with the girl and a zombie? I'm not going to sing too much of that because of copyright. I can't get over the use of props and the chemistry between the leads. It's such a good song. In the first football game of the season, Bucky leads the cheers against their own team because they won't cheer for a zombie. And the human players tell the other team to go for the zombie and refuse to block for him. Yeah, even when he's on the team, he's not on the team. Zed is creamed, and at halftime, the coach demands to know what happened to his brute strength. And Zed explains that his Z-band malfunctioned. The coach tells him, okay, use that. Yeah, sure. Okay, so you're essentially telling your players to dope themselves. That's essentially what it is. So Zed asks Eliza to hack his Z-Band for extra zombie juice. She warns him to only swipe right, never left, as that'll corrupt the software, and does it just enough so he doesn't lose complete control. Now all zombied up, Zed crushes the other team and becomes a new football star. As he wins more games, zombies get out of the basement, the fence is removed, Bonzo gets to go to music class, and Eliza to computer club, and the humans are starting to like zombies and they wear zombie merch. Meanwhile, Addison is still with Bucky and his cheer minions, but hanging out with Zed in secret. One night, Zed invites Addison to a party in Zombie Town. There, she meets his little sister Zoe, who wants to be a cheerleader, like Addison. And seeing Zoe's stuffed pet, insists that she's old enough for a real pet. And then Eliza comes in like, "Stop teasing her. You know zombies can't have pets." And Addison says, "I didn't know that. I was taught that zombies were ugly monsters, but I see that you, for example, are actually really smart and pretty." And that butters her up enough. Zed and Addison have a romantic moment alone in a zombie light garden, singing the song again, but in ballad form, making it 10 times better. He sees a strand of her white hair and says that it's beautiful. And then the moment is ruined by the cops as zombies are out past their curfew. Come on, they're just having fun. Why the police gotta ruin everything? Zed gets away, but Addison is caught and brought home to her parents. When she says she was there to meet a boy, the parents ban her from cheer until they can meet this boy. Addison tells Zed this, and they don't know he's a zombie, and if they do, they'll freak. So, against Eliza's warnings, Zed swipes his Z-band all the way left, increasing the electrical impulses to make him appear more human. Meanwhile, Bucky and the ACs find out Zed's been hacking his Z-band to win games, so they steal Eliza's laptop, and because Zed swiped left, the software is corrupted, and the ACs are able to break through Eliza's firewall. So, Addison's parents are impressed with normal Zed on the football team. What a very nice human boy. And the two of them are able to go on a real date in a humans-only frozen yogurt place that only serves vanilla. But though they are on a date in public, Zed is pretending to be something he's not, and Addison notices that messing with the Z-band is hurting him. But Zed is like, "How is what I'm doing any different than you wearing a wig all the time?" Got you there, girl. At the next football match, Addison cheers for the zombies, and Bucky kicks her off the squad. Bree cheers for the zombies too, and she's also kicked off, but both girls are happy for it, because they stood up for what they believe in. Yeah, like, screw you, cheer squad. And then the ACs hack the Z-Band, making Zed and Eliza and Bonzo full zombies in front of everybody. They go on a brain-eating rampage, and Bucky feels victorious until he realizes there are now hungry zombies on the loose that could eat his brains. Yeah, didn't think that through, did ya, buddy? The zombies are subdued and subjected to police brutality as they are carted off into the paddy wagon. And then Addison, in a beautiful power ballad, takes a stand and rips off her wig in front of everyone. You go, girl. Be who you are. But it doesn't change anything. Yeah, I should also point out, no casualties actually happened. It went out of hand. The zombies are kicked out of the school. Bucky kicks off all the cheerleaders who are pro-zombie, leaving them with a very small squad for the cheer competition. And then, while Zed and Bonzo empty Eliza's locker, they discover her plan to sabotage the cheer competition as an extreme form of protest and revenge. At the cheer competition, Addison is in the audience wearing her white hair proudly, and then spots Zed and follows him to Eliza and the crew, ready to sabotage the power and humiliate Bucky. But Addison and Zed insist this isn't the way to make a change. It will only make humans see them as the monsters that they think they are. Meanwhile, Seabrook's team is reduced to just less than half a squad, and they are putting on a very pitiful performance. And they're booed. I guess Eliza didn't need to sabotage. They're sabotaging themselves. But little zombie Zoe crashes the stage, cheering for Seabrook all excitedly, and everyone boos this sweet little girl. This sweet little girl. It might be unbelievable, but hey, they did that to Ruby Bridges. Inspired by Zoe's efforts to make a change, Addison encourages the zombies to rally with the squad, and they all cheer together. Yeah, like Eliza says, do we have to make a change with cheer? They don't win the competition, but the town wall is torn down, and zombies and human finally become integrated, and they're treated as equals. So, once again, Disney sends the message that differences should be celebrated, and if they supported the current Florida government, they'd be hypocrites. Sorry, I'm really mad at Disney's current CEO. How can you support their anti-gay, anti-race regulations when you yourself do stuff like the Owl House and... Okay, I'm getting off topic. Anyway, like I said, this movie reflects racial segregation and the struggle for integration in the mid-20th century USA. And if anyone wanted to be romantically involved in those times with someone of a different race, they had to hide it or else face serious consequences. And you know what? It's not just with race. It happened with religion. Like once upon a time, my mom and dad, Catholic and Protestant, probably wouldn't have been able to get married at all. Just as an example. And yet, interesting thing about this movie, though it is an allegory of racism, the zombies and humans aren't divided up by race. I'm talking about casting wise. The humans aren't, for example, all white, and the zombies aren't all black, but both contain interracial casting. Because here's the thing, anyone is capable of prejudice. Although whites have the highest reputation of prejudice thanks to our history, I am white, I acknowledge what my ancestors did, okay? But even marginalized groups can be prejudiced of other marginalized groups. For example, a black person can be homophobic or a gay person can be racist. There are also a lot of queer folk who think aces like me don't belong in the LGBT community, or trans or bis. Marginalized groups can be against people of different religions as well. Even still going on today. Even in the US itself. Look at Florida. Even in my state, they're banning books that talk about the civil rights movement. And there are cases of, say, interracial and same-sex couples and interfaith couples not being allowed to adopt by certain adoption agencies. So, although the zombies and human divide is very reminiscent of the historical white and black divide, it is something that can happen with any two groups, actually, in any in any country. Stuck in the past and seeing differences of any kind as a threat to normal society. I mean, Addison was afraid to stand up for zombies because she was afraid of being exposed as an outcast herself. I can relate. Being a woman born of white privilege, it is a thing, yes. And I was homophobic for a time because I was afraid of my own queer identity. I didn't understand it, for one thing. I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. I really relate to Addison a lot. In our own efforts to fit in, we can become ignorant of those who aren't allowed to fit in, who have no opportunity to fit in, for that matter. Not our own faults for this ignorance, because we're raised to think a certain way. But with each new generation, we become wiser and more accepting of our differences. These themes are expanded upon in the second film, which is what makes it a really good sequel, in which we learn the werewolves were the first residents of Seabrook before the settlers invaded and stole their moonstone, the source of their power. The same power source that caused the zombie incident, incidentally. The arrival of the werewolves put anti-monster laws back into effect because people, including the zombies, are afraid of the werewolves. which makes Zed resent the werewolves as he was just starting to fit in. But the wolves just want their moonstone and their heritage back, as without it, they'll grow sick and lose their wolf powers. They believe Addison is the legendary Great Alpha, prophesied to have white hair, and Addison is excited to belong to a pack. As well, now that she's out with the white hair, she doesn't quite belong anywhere. The zombies had their own crew, but she's not accepted by the humans, so she's not sure what she is or why she has the white hair. I know what you mean, Addison. I wasn't sure what I was for the longest time. But Zed tries to prevent Addison from becoming a monster because he can't accept that he's a monster himself. And he also knows the hardships. So he thought he was protecting Addison, but it was really his own fear of himself. Turns out Addison's not a werewolf, but she still takes a stand with the wolves and helps them regain their treasure and legacy as the original residents of Seabrook. Obviously, the werewolves serve as an allegory to the indigenous folk whose land was taken by European settlers. Yep, history is a mess, but there's a reason we learn it, and we should not erase it. We should not change facts. In fact, they even mention it in this movie that the history books of Seabrook are wrong. Okay, I'm gonna go on a tangent here. Oh, and Zed learns to embrace his zombie strength without the Z-band, instead of suppressing what makes him a zombie. The third movie comes out this year, but it is implied by the end scene of the second that this movie will involve space aliens, and Addison just might be one. I would love to see the story there. So, yeah, though the acting and dialogue may come off as cheesy at times, like most Disney Channel movies, what are you going to do? This franchise is pretty deep. People who are different are celebrated when they do something great, like when they win football games, but one little mistake and suddenly they are hardened criminals. And it's very easy to make them hardened criminals because of a factor, and usually with their skin color. Think of how many blacks, for example, have been beaten and or murdered by the police for minor offenses like speeding. But when they win, say, the NBA championship, they're heroes, and suddenly people don't care if they're black. But I'll bet you if say Michael Jordan did get into some trouble like a speeding ticket, maybe he could easily be mistaken for just any run-of-the-mill black person. And okay, yeah, I don't think I need to explain where that would go, because damn. And think about all the history erased. So we don't learn what our ancestors did. We never know what not to do. We have to learn history in order not to repeat it. And if we try so hard to fit in, we could end up forgetting who we are and where we came from, suppressing our unique qualities and strengths. And why? Because society will never stop dictating the ideal person that we have to be. But if we stay true to ourselves, stand up for our friends, embrace our differences rather than hide them, then maybe by the time the next generation is born and grown, the world will be much better. At least more so than it is right now. Okay, got a little extra sappy there. And here's a message to all you Floridians. Yes, I'm going with this again. Stop trying to erase our differences. Stop trying to erase our history. Black people exist. Queer people exist. No matter how many books you ban, be they history or math books, we're not going anywhere. All right. Got a little preachy there, but does anybody in the chat have anything they'd like to add to the conversation? BellaPinkSavage says, nope, just that these movies are wonderful. And Cosmic Trail says, my sister enjoyed these movies alongside Descendants. Ugh, don't get me started on that. I mean, I'm sure Descendants was going for a similar message, but Zombies did it better. Yep, as you say, she is young. What does she know? Alright, so for next time, I didn't do a poll because with so few topics left, I'm doing them in order of convenience. I don't have all of them in immediate access, so I'm doing what I can. For example, for some, I have to do a lot extra research, so I'm saving them for later. So next week, I'll be covering a fairy tale parody film called Charming, about the Prince Charming cursed to enamor every lady who looks at him, including Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty. You know, I cover so many beastly curses, and people who are turned into beasts and thus repulse everyone, but what about charming curses where you attract everybody? You know, as an asexual, I'd be very scared of that curse. Until next time, remember, be true to yourself, stand up for your fellow minorities, and Florida, at this point in time, sucks. Really sucks.